Holy cow, what a big game right there. Welcome, everyone. This is the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley. We're live at Jets Pizza in Allendale. If you are out and about in the area, come on out and see us. But a mile west of Grand Valley State campus just right off of Lake Michigan Drive. We got heart-shaped pizzas tonight and tomorrow. Great special, $6.99. Plus, we have the Ric Wesley special, some great stuff. But, hey, more than that, DJ Foster, play-by-play guy, we got to welcome you in here, this quick opening segment to set sort of a pace for the show. But, man, what a game here, not only on Thursday, but on Saturday.
Yeah, both games were just great wins for the Lakers. Season-high 94 points in the win over Northwood. And obviously, you just heard Juwan Starks was the hero on Saturday against Lake Superior State. I don't want to say draining a three-pointer. It kind of bounced all over the place and fell in, but got the shooter's roll. And yeah, it was great. I mean, Grand Valley moves now to 11-7 in conference play and tied for fourth place in the conference standings.
Exactly, and 15-10 overall. They're in, as you said, we're in the second half of the four-game homestand to close out the season. Folks, there's only 3 regular season games left, so every game of utmost importance here as we continue through the rest of the season. Well, we got an exciting program ahead. We're talking Laker basketball for the next 60 minutes here up until 7 o'clock. But Luke Reiskamp, one of the senior leaders here on the Laker squad, is going to be joining us, going to get to find out a little bit more about him. And him and Juwan have been having some unbelievable games, especially the last 2 games. So we'll talk with him about that as well, all the excitement as we break down the upcoming games against Michigan Tech and Northern Michigan at home this upcoming Thursday and Saturday. It's all ahead right after this break. This is the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider, brought to you by Rivertown Honda here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
We were born here. We grew up here. Raised our kids here. Went to school here. We live here. We are the home team.
A thrilling finish to Saturday's 71-69 victory over Lake Superior State. This is the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley. DJ Foster, play-by-play voice here, along with Jeremy Bolker, and, of course, head coach Ric Wesley. We are live at Jets Pizza in Allendale, and we're talking Laker hoops. Grand Valley State now 15-10 on the year with a couple of great wins last week in Allendale, part of the 4-game homestand that continues this weekend. 11-7 in conference play, a 3-way tie, a little bit of a log jam for fourth place in the conference standings, and Grand Valley State now tied with Lake Superior State, the team they just beat, which gave that victory a little bit of extra importance. And, Coach, I just mentioned a 4-game homestand, and you started it off in a pretty good way with 2 victories over Northwood and Lake Superior State, and 2 more big ones coming up this week.
Yeah, it was a really solid week for us coming off a bad week, and it was really important that we kind of regroup and get back to playing the way we're capable, kind of certainly a crucial time in the season. I mean, if we don't stop the bleeding, then it's just over. We could kind of just limp to the end, I guess. But came back, played strong, got a couple of really solid wins, renewed enthusiasm, and opportunity now lie ahead. So hopefully we can build on it again this week.
Well, Coach, we're talking about this past Thursday and past Saturday games, and, of course, after we had mentioned 5 games in 10 days, a tough little stretch of games there, falling 3 times, a couple of difficult losses there, but, man, come in poised, just kicking butt on Thursday night against Northwood. But even more importantly, because Northwood, I know, has struggled a little bit this season, but, it doesn't matter. It's still a GLIAC game. But then Lake Superior State, the emotion in that game. Let's talk about this game of emotions, Coach, because you showed some emotion at the end of that game too. And I'll tell you, it was but what a wild roller coaster of a game, and to come on top of that has just got to feel so good.
Well, it's that time of the year. I think, most coaches, if you turn on the TV, we're kind of a frazzled group at this time of the year. And, the season's a long season. It takes its toll on certainly on the players physically. I think it takes its toll on the coaches emotionally. You're trying to drive the team and trying to push them and motivate them. And, you're giving it all you got. And so, again, it's gratifying to come through that when it goes well. Man, you just feel a tremendous sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. And at the same time, when it doesn't go well, you just, it's a tremendous sense of loss and woe is me. So our guys came through it well. Northwood was a tough game, obviously. Their record, I don't think, indicates the type of team they have. It's a year where top to bottom our league is really tough. They just happen to be a little bit short compared to some teams, and so their record probably is worse than it would be in a normal year, but still capable of playing good basketball. In Lake Superior State, obviously, has really turned into a marquee game for us, it seems like, every year, and they handled us pretty easily up in Sault Ste. Marie, so we were hoping to get through Thursday's game to have an opportunity to close out the week against them, and to do it just was awesome. So hopefully it's not the highlight of our season. Hopefully we have more highlights to come.
Here on the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley. This segment is brought to you by Cardinal Buses. Go in comfort, go in style, and go green. Go with Cardinal Buses. Coach, let's go chronologically. We'll talk Northwood game here as Juwan Starks and Luke Reiskamp really started off the homestand the right way. Juwan had 19 points in the first half. Luke had 19 in the second half. Juwan finished with a career-high 28 points. He was 6 of 7 from three-point range. And Luke had a season-best 24 points, and he made all 9 of his free throws. It was your high-scoring game of the year, and you guys looked comfortable being back at home.
Yeah, we sure did. We just got to get those guys to put two good halves together.
Right.
Then we'll be all right. So they both have, 38 points
there
apiece?
You go.
That'd
yep.
be pretty hard to beat us,
Yeah,
I think.
I would think so.
It's, Juwan, I'm really proud of him. He's come back and had a good senior year last year. Certainly wasn't, something that he felt, proud of. It was just an okay year. First-year junior college player. Physically, he was kind of beat up. Just didn't adjust as well as he had hoped to, but he came back this year with a great attitude, and he's really worked hard and been a good leader for us. And he's had a couple of stretches now where, man, oh man, he's been lights out.
Mm-hmm.
The Hillsdale Walsh stretch, I think it was, and then more recently he kind of faded out a little bit. And kind of got on him, to be more aggressive, and he has really responded. And he's got such a beautiful shot. You feel like he should make it every time he shoots it. He's got to shoot it more. He got to get in better positions. And it seems like the last couple games, the things we've done have kind of allowed him to, know the ball's coming to him and get his feet ready. And he's really knocked them down. So, and Luke, obviously has been that type of player his whole career, and certainly been a marked man the last couple of years. But I think when Juwan scores, I think it takes some pressure off Luke, and the other team all of a sudden forgets about him, and then he can kind of play a little bit more freely as well. So to have two guys out there that are hitting shots the way they are, man, that just takes so much pressure off our offense.
Sure.
And particularly with Trevin out the other day, it was much needed.
Coach, we're talking about the Thursday night game specifically. Grand Valley 94 to 83 win over Northwood. Of course, that caps your season high amount of points scored. I think I want to say you had 93 against Northwood the first time you guys played around. I guess it's sometimes so hard to tell, Coach, with these GLIAC games about when you're going to be just scoring in the 60s versus the 90s. I understand across the league on Thursday night there's a lot of high-scoring point games. Why is that? I mean, how can there be somebody that scores 60 one night and then all of a sudden 90, and you do the scouting report and you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think
you
have to look at the matchups. You got to look at the matchups for one thing. Who are the teams that are playing? There's certain teams when, like say we play Wayne State, it's going to be a low-scoring game. Quite often, I should say, maybe won't be this week when we play Michigan Tech. It can be a low-scoring game. Mm-hmm. There's some teams I think are a little bit more committed to defense than others. And when those teams play each other, it tends to be a lower scoring game. And if you got one team that's not, well, it tends to, kind of get out of hand a little bit or get more points on the board. A lot of it is how the officials call it too. I think, depending on what they do early in the game, the players, if they're able to play more freely and it's a more free-flowing game, you score more points. If it's one of those, man, seems like they're letting anything go, it's kind of game, it can be really physical and can be difficult. So I don't know. It's hard to tell. I look across the nation sometimes, and some of the scores you see, it really shocks you. Watched the Virginia Tech game yesterday in the first half. I think Virginia Tech, geez, they had like 11 points or something. They ended up winning in double overtime, but it's hard to say. I think there's a lot of variables to go into it.
Sure.
Well, always good stuff again at Grand Valley, 15-10 now overall. And don't forget, folks, we'll be telling you throughout the broadcast, but you want to make sure you come out and cheer on the team this Thursday against Michigan Tech, a doubleheader, 6, and the men play at 8 o'clock. Again, that's this Thursday, and then again on Saturday, last regular season home game, senior night. I got a number of different other activities going on there, including Beach Day. We're going to hope that DJ's going to avoid the Speedo on that particular broadcast, but that's why he's on radio. But anyway, we'll get into that, more about that after this. When we return here at Jets Pizza in Allendale, this is the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider, brought to you by Rivertown Honda here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
We were born here. We grew up here. Raised our kids here. Went to school here. We live here. We are the home team.
You heard Luke Reiskamp mention in that play earlier. He's going to be joining us on the program here in the next segment. Looking forward to that. Luke, the senior, one of the big senior leaders here on the program, having himself one heck of a season, one heck of a career here at Grand Valley State. Looking forward to visiting with you a little bit later on. Again, we are here at Jets Pizza. This is the Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley, brought to you by Rivertown Honda. And Coach, here is the Budweiser Hot Seat question presented by Mervine Beverage. Enjoy responsibly. Here is the question. It's a tough one. Coach, when is Valentine's Day?
Tomorrow.
Very good job. Very good job. Folks, I don't mean to...
14th of February.
Yeah, that's right. I don't mean to ever throw Coach underneath the bus, but I did ask him. He asked us, and Jim Pettis, the fine owner here, because, of course, they got these heart-shaped pizzas that they're doing today and tomorrow night, so make sure to come in and get one. They got the perfect couple combo. You get a heart-shaped pizza, heart-shaped bread, cheesy bread, all for $12.99. Great deal, and then the cinnamon sticks. But anyway, we're talking about that with Jim Pettis here, and then Coach looks over at both of us and goes, "Hey, so when's Valentine's Day?" And I'm like, "Oh man, it's tomorrow, man. It's tomorrow."
I knew it was tomorrow.
But that's I know. But we'll give you a lot of credit. It's been a heck of a week, a heck of a weekend for you. So that was sort of our Budweiser hot seat question.
Yeah,
I
you didn't want to throw me under the bus.
Right, didn't want to throw you under the bus,
Even
but I
though
sort
you
of
did.
did. I know you hate this word dovetail, but it's sort of a two-part question. So we understand that your mom was at the game. Did she have any pointers for you after the game with Coach? Because I know she knows the basketball game really well.
She's always excited when we win. The mom and dad are great fans, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law were here too. So had both sets of parents here for both games last week, which was, that's awesome. They're all in their 80s now, and they come over and support us, and it's great. It's hard work for my wife. She's got to entertain them, and I was going recruiting Friday, so she was kind of the host with the most. But it was great having them all here, and they brought us good luck, and they sure enjoy the games.
Well, not only that with your folks and in-laws, which is great, but Coach, you guys have been averaging one heck of a crowd here each of these games, and that's got to help with emotions.
It goes that way every year. It kind of starts off slow. A lot of stuff going on in the fall with football, volleyball. We're kind of getting to the end of the semester with final exams, and then, we go on a break, and then we get back, and then, our marketing folks do a great job, have a lot of promotional things, Kids Day and throwback game and blackouts and whiteouts and all kinds of stuff, and it seems like it always kind of builds here right at the end, and it really makes it exciting, and certainly plays a big part in how our guys play and helps them to have that little bit extra energy and enthusiasm that often is the difference between winning and losing.
Well, and certainly you gave them something to cheer about in that final couple of minutes on Saturday. Lake Superior State, you had a lead in the final couple of minutes, then they regained a 2-point lead, and then we heard at the top of the hour, Juwan Starks hit the big three-pointer. He scored your last 6 points of the game. Unfortunately, he only made one of the 3 free throws later to keep the game, make it a little more dramatic at the end. But in the long run, he got the rebound after the missed shot and made it a victory. Talk about those last couple of minutes and especially his big shot.
Well, we actually had some bad possessions there toward the end. We had a stretch there 3 or 4 in a row that, we just got a little bit careless with the ball, and we didn't have many timeouts. We had used some timeouts for early in the game, loose ball situations, things like that. So, we didn't really execute great late. But then on the right there at the end, we had a timeout, and Coach Johnson, who's I kind of lean on him to help me with the offense. Suggested that we run a particular play, and if we could really go either way, it was going to be Luke or Juwan. And the fact that both of them had hitting shots, normally we kind of designate one, but we didn't really designate one, and ran the play and really executed well. And Miles in particular, made a heck of a pass and found Juwan open there, and Juwan, you never feel bad when he shoots it, but that one. It did hit a lot of the rim.
Hit backboard.
The rim, backboard, and how it went in, again, his technique is good. I mean, he had a good backspin on that ball, and the backspin eventually pulled it down through the net. So it was a great shot, and then we hustled back, and guys did a good job, and we had, I think they took a timeout, and then we subbed in, and we put Chris in there for Miles. And as it worked out, they took a shot there around the top of the key, and both Justin and Chris really challenged that shot hard. And, I think probably Chris a little bit taller, and that's why we put him in there. And so that proved to be a good play defensively. And then Juwan was able to secure the ball, and then like you say, made the free throw there at the end, or actually right before that. But even that play at the end defensively was a big play, and Juwan would like to see him make all the free throws, but man, he was the one that got that rebound there at the end.
I want to talk with Luke Reiskamp, going to be joining us in the next segment. But Coach, that game, as you mentioned, the turnovers and then a couple of the free throws, but was there something going on in the huddle too that it was sort of a bend don't break mentality? Because very easily at that point, it could have gotten the emotions could have overcome you guys, and just you weren't able to maybe necessarily execute the way that you should have, but you did. And it seems like some of the big plays, especially the last couple of games, have been coming from the seniors with Luke and Juwan. And have they taken over to put the team on the shoulders? Or
well, they played well, and certainly without Trevin out there, I mean, you're looking for leadership. Those guys need to provide that. I got to give some credit to Miles Miller too. I think Miles has done a nice job here lately. We moved him to the bench, brought him off the bench, started Chris in there, and Miles is a good team guy, and he didn't bat an eye, and he's kind of accepted his role. And I think he actually has played better, and and even at the end of the game, he was in there. Like I said, Juwan made the shot, but Miles made a heck of a pass to get it there, and his execution, offensively is really a big thing for us late in the game. And then even the play right before that Juwan got fouled on, Miles had the presence of mind to get Juwan the ball, and the play didn't go exactly the way we had hoped. But he ended up giving him a little handoff pass and got the ball in his hands. So, late game execution is big, and I can't say that we had perfect execution in this game, but it was good enough both ends of the floor to give us a chance, and we got it done. We've
been talking about Juwan Starks and Luke Reiskamp and how well they've been playing. We're going to bring in Luke Reiskamp right after this break as we come back for more of the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with Ric Wesley. Senior guard Luke Reiskamp coming up when we come back right after this. The show is all presented by Rivertown Honda. Got to get it at Rivertown Honda right here on ESPN 961.
We were born here. We grew up here. Raised our kids here. Went to school here. We live here. We are the home team.
And welcome back to the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider here on the Grand Valley Sports Network. DJ Foster, Jeremy Bolker here with you. And Juwan Starks may have made the eventual game-winning shot, but that shot you heard right there was from senior guard Luc Reiskamp that put the Lakers on top 65-63. They end up beating Lake Superior State 71-69 in a huge win for Grand Valley State to stay even with Lake Superior State in the standings, move to 11-7 now in a three-way tie for fourth place, a real logjam in the conference standings. But now we bring in senior guard Luc Reiskamp. And Luke, good week for you guys. You and Juwan Starks were just torching the nets. And nice to get back home, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. We were on the road for a while and kind of had a little rough patch there, and it was good for us to get back home and stop the bleeding, as coach would say, and get some wins. So,
you guys, you and Juwan, I mean, in the two wins over Northwood and Lake Superior State, you were 8 for 12 from three-point range. Juwan was 10 of 13. So, I mean, what were you guys seeing? Why were you guys able to be so effective from the outside? I mentioned earlier in the Northwood game, Juwan had 19 first-half points. You had 19 second-half points. Then you have 23 points against Lake State on Saturday. Juwan hits the game-winning shot. I mean, what allowed you guys, what do you feel like allowed you guys to be so successful?
Yeah, well, I think we got some good stops on the defensive end. And I think in the offensive end, we just moved the ball well. And I think we got a lot of penetration into the lane and a lot of kickouts. And then we're moving. And I think when all that happens, you know, we get open shots, whether it's me or Juwan or anybody. I mean, and whoever's there can knock them down. So,
Coach mentioned earlier in the show that when Juwan has it going like he does, and I mean, you've seen it, he can get it going in a hurry. You feel that takes some pressure off for you, and it allows you to kind of take a step back and kind of, okay, someone else is doing it now. When it does become my turn, it's not, you know, I don't have to score. It's not as crucial. Do you feel less pressure when someone else is putting up numbers like he was?
I mean, definitely. Anytime someone else can step up like that and continue to play, that's great for us. You know, it's not every night that your shot's going to be getting knocked down, so people have to step up and in order for us to win. And Juwan was ready, and his name was called, and you know he did a great job. And no matter who it is out there, me or Trevin, if it's Trevin's night or Juwan's night or Miles' night or Chris's night, doesn't really matter. It just anytime anyone can do that, it takes pressure off the whole team. So.
Joined here by Luc Reiskamp, and Luke, you guys are 15-10 overall. You only have 3 regular season games left. Have you thought at all about you know, the end of the season, and that this is, you know, you got the GLIAC tournament, hopefully some NCAA appearance, of course, but I mean, it's got to be pretty interesting for you emotionally because you don't have too many games left in that Laker uniform.
Yeah, definitely. It's coming to an end real quick here, and you know, it's hard to think about right now with just how the season's going and how we need every win, and we just concentrate on one game at a time. But I think after Thursday and move on to Saturday, that last home game, I think it will kind of hit all of us seniors for sure. You know, so we'll be ready, but we need to get the win. So we just gotta try to keep the emotions down because I mean, I think it's going to be the most important game of the season. So.
Well, looking back on your Laker career, and DJ, in a moment, you're going to have a couple of the accolades about some of the scoring in that, which is really neat. But is it sort of what you expected when you came to Grand Valley? I guess what were you sort of surprised with from when you got here from Schoolcraft as a freshman to now?
Man, probably everything.
Yeah?
The speed of the game, defensively, definitely, it was just a lot different. You know, just had how to adapt to the game was a big thing for me. And, you know, I guess maybe I was able to adapt all right. You know, I'm just probably still working and trying to get better. But, you know, I think that was the biggest thing is how to adapt to the college level from the high school. So
This interview with senior guard Luke Reiskamp is brought to you by Earhart Construction, the official construction company of the Grand Valley Sports Network. And Luke, I wanted to follow up on the previous question from Jeremy. What do you remember from the previous senior days? You've obviously been a part of 3 of them now. You've seen guys go through their, whatever their pregame routine is, and then you have to go through the whole ceremony, and they, you get the accolades, and everyone's clapping for you. And I'm sure guys respond differently. Mm-hmm. Some probably play better. Some maybe the motions are a little out of whack. What do you remember from the last couple of years?
Oh man, there's been a lot of seniors. I remember freshman year, Rob Woodson. My sophomore year, Ryan Saban and Chief and all those guys. Last year, Ricky, DK, Chaz, and AJ. It's just every year's a little different how we go about it. So I think the team does a good job of just showing how important those guys are to the team. And so I mean, it's gonna. I don't want to say it's going to be emotional. I hope it's not going to be because we got a game, but it's going to be the last one. So just leave it all on the court.
If you could recall coming back into this homestand here, and of course Grand Valley 15-10 overall now, putting themselves in a really good position for the GLIAC tournament and seedings there, and hopefully have a home game or more. But Luke, do you remember quite a stretch of games like you've had where you play 5 games in 10 days, and 4 out of the 5 of those games are on the road? Man,
I don't think I can recall that. That was a lot. I don't even think we realized what we went through until it was all done, and we were like, man, we haven't been home in a while. We've been on the road. A lot of hotel rooms, a lot of traveling, a bus, and just a lot of that. So I don't think you really realize it until it's all done, and you kind of look back and. Win or lose, you're like, man, maybe we could have played better there, but, it's over now, so we just got to move forward.
Looking at the end of the game against Lake Superior State, you guys, of course, you ended up winning that game 71-69, but was there anything on the bench, on the court? Because that game, I know you guys had experienced a couple of hardships with some, a few turnovers in a row, a couple of missed free throws where it very easily could have been, you guys could have cashed it in and go, well, we lost this game. But you didn't, and Juwan ends up securing that rebound there, and they missed the three-pointer at the end. But you guys could have very easily, broke right there, and you didn't. You hung in there and won maybe a game that maybe you weren't supposed to win. I don't know, but maybe if you could talk about that, and then what you and Juwan, and obviously you didn't have Trevin in there, but your senior leadership and what that means to this team.
Yeah, that last play, I think just seeing the ball go up and it got tipped, and then our first reaction was to box out. I was playing on the bottom of that zone. They have Lake State has some big guys that kind of, they bump into you. They let you know you're there. And then I seen Juwan just come flying out of nowhere and grabbing the rebound. And right there, I mean, that's when we knew we won the game. And then when Juan was shooting the free throws, he missed the first 2, but I knew he was going to make the last one for sure. And he would have made those the first 2. Maybe the game would have been over, but he didn't. And we came down and we do that in practice every day, with defensive situations. And, we got a hand on the ball and forced them to take probably not the greatest shot in the world. And then, Juwan came down with the rebound, and that's just sometimes how basketball goes, and went our way. So
made for a really exciting finish.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Luke, I got a 2-part question here for you because for the fans who don't know, you are now into 19th place all time in scoring at Grand Valley State, top 20, pretty cool deal there with 1,273 points. I'm sure you're not keeping track of it, but you passed recent guys, Ricky Carbajal, Ryan Saban, guys you used to play with, Pete Trammell, Courtney James, some well-known Lakers from around here. I'm sure you're not taking time to look at it now, but what's that going to mean to you, 5, 10, 15 years from now when you're sitting with your grandkids and telling them I used to be a pretty good basketball player?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot, and I think I'll just look back on more on just the teams and all the hard practices and all the 2 miles and, everything, waking up early and, hard practices, easy practices, traveling. I think I'll look more back on all that and just reflect on that and how good of a time it was, and so I think it's been an awesome experience, and it'll be fun to tell stories in the future for sure.
So now part 2 of that question, and we talked about this earlier in the year. So your sister Erica played basketball here for people who somehow lived under a rock and don't know that. She scored 1,409 points. So you're about 130 points away from her, still within striking distance. I looked at it. She averaged 11.74 points per game in her career. You are at 11.67. If you round up yours and round down hers, you guys are tied at 11.7, which I think is crazy. Any thoughts on that and trying to catch her in the scoring column?
I mean, that's good for her. You know, that it is what it is, but we just got to win. That's all I'm concentrating on right now, and we take it one game at a time, and who knows where it can go.
So no sibling rivalry.
No,
That's good.
no.
That's good to hear.
Well, good stuff. Joined here by Luc Reiskamp, and as we sort of wrap up the interview too, you'd mentioned something. I just have to know out of curiosity. I haven't heard this before. What's a 2-mile?
That's the first test of the year when we come back from our summer break. You know, I think it's probably the second week of the school. Yeah, we wake up about, I think we run at 6:15 in the morning on the outdoor track, and coach gets his timer out, and we start running, and some guys make it and some guys don't, and that's how you know. And we can just keep running it, and every week.
I was gonna say, what happens if you don't make it?
If you don't make it, you gotta condition. You gotta wake up in the morning, condition with all the assistant coaches, and then the whole team goes back out there and cheers you on, and then sometimes the whole team will go back out there and run a lap with you, and so we do it until everybody makes it.
Well, that's interesting because I mean it's definitely a different type of fitness, a 2-miler versus a lot of just sprints constantly back and forth. So it's got to be interesting. Throw some guys for a loop right there too.
Yep.
DJ, you got to ask the 3-point question now. I think now more than ever we ask this pretty much through most of your teammates here throughout the season, but I'm going to throw it over to you, DJ, to ask this question.
Yeah, well, we had talked about it earlier. Obviously, Luke, you were on back in November or December, something like that. But so now we're going to take the other guys out of the equation. You and Juwan in a gym right now, today, tomorrow, and sometime this week, who wins a 3-point contest? Because you guys have both been on fire recently.
Oh, man. I'm definitely going to say me, but, I think it'll be a close one. And I guarantee it, Trevin would try to jump in there. If we lock Trevin out of the gym, he'd try to be in there. So I think it would be a close one. It would be a good battle.
I mean, Trevin's pretty close because you lead the team with 45 threes. Juwan has 37. Trevin's got 30. And Trevin's actually second in 3-point percentage out of you guys. So I'm sure he would try and get in there.
Yeah,
but at least you're saying it wouldn't be a blowout or anything.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Okay.
Well, Luke, as we wrap it up, the last question, what do you think you're looking forward to most about the end of this season now?
Oh, man, just, we got 3 games left, and just leaving it all on the court with my teammates, and just ending the season on a great note, and, trying to get the highest seed we can to get in this tournament, and just take it one game at a time and go from there.
All right. Well, hey, congratulations on being a great Laker. Continued success for the season and, of course, in life, too. So thank you so much for coming on the program here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Luke.
All right. Luc Reiskamp joining us here on the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider. When we return, we'll bring back in head coach Ric Wesley and break down those upcoming games this upcoming Thursday and Saturday. Again, Thursday night, doubleheader, 6 and 8 o'clock against Michigan Tech, and then Northern Michigan on Saturday. The women play at 1 o'clock, and then the men at 3 p.m. We will return here at Jets Pizza in Allendale here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
We were born here. We grew up here. Raised our kids here. Went to school here. We live here. We are the home team.
Back here at Jets Pizza in Allendale, about a mile west of Grand Valley State Campus. Come on out and join us. We're here till 7 o'clock. The Ric Wesley Show special goes till 8 o'clock. It's a large one-topping pizza for just $6. But, of course, don't forget tonight and tomorrow. Let's say you can't make it in, but you want the perfect couple combo. Jim has been pushing this. This is a really neat deal here. $12.99 gets you a a heart-shaped pizza, and then a heart-shaped cheese sticks. And then you can, of course, Coach, I'm sure, enjoy the heart-shaped cinnamon sticks here for just an additional $5.99 as well. So enough for the sweet tooth. And, hey, maybe you didn't get flowers or candy or whatever. You know what? It can easily be made up right there. Nothing says love like a Jets heart-shaped pizza.
Exactly.
So, all right, Coach, this isn't a hot seat question because it's actually brought to you by two men in a truck. Maybe it's a moving question. I don't know. But anyway.
All your
question
questions are moving.
This. Yes, they are. As we want to jump around, we want to talk about the GLIAC standings. Coach, do you look at the standings? Do you don't look at the standings?
First of all, my brother is the CEO of Two Men in a Truck.
No kidding.
Yeah, my younger brother, so I'll thank him and the company for the question.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
I don't really look at the standings. I don't know that it matters. I'm going to try to win every game, and I always tell our guys, I know one thing: if we continue to win, good things happen, and if we don't win, bad things are going to happen. So no matter where we're at, I suppose if we were, had clinched the conference championship, maybe it'd matter. I'd rest some guys or something, but we're going to battle right to the end. So it just seems like information a lot of times I don't need to have. I know it's bunched up. It's been bunched up all year. We've just got to keep kind of moving forward. And there's so many mathematical combinations or possibilities. And about the time you figure it out, then you lose a game, and then it all goes away. So we got 3 left, and going into this home stretch, I told our guys, hey, we need to win out. We got to try to win out, and if we do that, good things will happen. So that's kind of been our focus.
All right, so Coach doesn't look at them. We have to. We're the media. We have to do that sort of thing. And right now you're in a 3-way tie for 4th place. Obviously, the top 4 teams host a first-round game in the GLIAC tournament, which is a huge advantage, obviously, rather than going on the road. You're tied with Lake State, and you're tied with Wayne State. And obviously, you just beat Lake Superior State, so you handle things on your end. Lake Superior State and Wayne State still play each other, so one of those teams is going to lose there. And 2 of the 3 teams ahead of you in the standings, you still play. Michigan Tech on Thursday and Ferris State next Thursday in Big Rapids. So certainly a lot of ground can still be made up. And like you said, it is so jammed up in the middle that with 3 games left, it is almost sort of silly to kind of look at it this much. But it's nice to know you still at least control your own destiny.
Well, it's just good to know you're coming down the stretch and you're still in the hunt. So everything that we've wanted to accomplish is still out there for us to go get it. Obviously, nobody's going to give us anything, and we have to go out there and take it. But to be at this point in the year and still have opportunities to get into postseason play, that's been our goal all along. I tell our guys, our particular sport, just getting to the conference tournament, I think, is a pretty significant accomplishment. The quality across the league, the 8th place team in our North Division can easily beat the 1st place team, and it's showed out. It's been shown several times this year. So, we're just trying to grind it out, trying to maximize our opportunity for success, and that's kind of what this experience is all about. Just giving your best. Each time you put a foot out on the floor, and for the most part, the guys have done a pretty good job of that.
Coach, that's what I imagine had it felt so good about Saturday's victory is against Lake Superior State, because here they just come off the heels of beating Ferris State at Ferris, which is no easy accomplishment by far. They're in first place, 21-4 overall, and you go and beat Lake Superior State. That's what it's got to prove to you and the players. Like, hey, we may not be on every night, but man, we're in this thing.
Yeah, as you do the comparison score thing, it's just what we've been talking about. There's a lot of parity, and there's a lot of good teams, and a lot of good individual players, and you got to bring it every single night. And that's also the tough thing. I thought about that the other day, in sports. We had this great week last week. Well, okay, that's not done. It's not like you can sit on that for a year or 2 years. I suppose you're in business, you get the thing right, and you have some successful sales pitch. Well,
yeah, it's like a sales
you
thing,
reap the benefits for the next year, maybe. Well, it's not that way in sports. You can enjoy it for about 24 hours, and then you got to come back and prove it again. And certainly at this time of year, you need to have these kind of wins that we had on Saturday to keep that fire and keep that momentum going. The guys came back today in practice, and I thought, pretty good focus and pretty good energy, and seem to have a desire to build upon what we just had happen, and they want more. And I think that's part of it in college athletics. Even talking to Luke, sometimes you get seniors and their belly is full. They've been doing it a long time, and they're looking forward to the real world and jobs and internships and stuff like that. And some of it is, well, what how much more do you want? And, my sense is our team wants more. So hopefully that's going to be reflected in their play.
Well, and again, we mentioned earlier you're first in the conference in attendance, and we hope the fans get some more this weekend as Michigan Tech comes in on Thursday night, 8 p.m. start between Grand Valley State and the Huskies, and then Northern Michigan on Saturday. It'll be senior day, as Jeremy mentioned, beach day as well, 1,000 beach towels to the first 1,000 GVSU students. So a lot going on. We'll talk about Michigan Tech and Northern Michigan in the next segment when we come back. As the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider is here with Ric Wesley. It's all presented by Rivertown Honda. Got to get it at Rivertown Honda.
We were born here. We grew up here. Raised our kids here. Went to school here. We live here. We are the home team.
And welcome back into the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley, play-by-play voice DJ Foster, and Jeremy Bolker here with you as we're talking Laker hoops here at Jets Pizza in Allendale. And Grand Valley State hosting 2 more games during this 4-game homestand. They'll take on Michigan Tech on Thursday night and Northern Michigan on Saturday in the final regular season home game of the year, senior day for Trevin Alexander and Luke Reiskamp and Jawan Starks. But, Coach, Thursday night's game against Michigan Tech, team you faced back in late January up in Houghton and fell on the wrong side of a 72-64 score. They've got the reigning freshman of the year and Kyle Monroe, one of the top scorers in the conference, a very guard-oriented team. What do you see from the Huskies as maybe something that they do really well that you'll have to try and figure out how to take away on Thursday?
Well, they can really shoot. They've got such a great group of shooters on their team, from Monroe, who's a tremendous player. He can shoot from the outside. He can score on the inside. Cartier is a veteran point off guard who can really score and shoot. Their freshman kid, Tommy Luca, great player. You just keep going. Greg Heath. Those guys all are just really knockdown three-point shooters. And, they spread the floor, and it's hard to help on them. They're really committed to long possessions. They move the ball well. And then they're a tough, hard-nosed defensive team. They don't let you in there. They typically don't press, but they kind of pack their defense in there and make it difficult for you to get close to the basket. So, it doesn't surprise me. I thought they maybe were the dark horse team to win the league. It seemed like they kind of flew under the radar. They always have that advantage. It's like, woe is me, we're way up here in Houghton, and everybody feels bad for them. And yet, they have a tremendous school, great campus, great college town, and they get great players. Their talent level year in, year out, to me, is as good as anybody. They get a lot of northern Wisconsin kids. There's not a lot of schools up there. They know that area well, and they get, like I say, Kyle Monroe, freshman of the year last year, and the Luca kid might be the freshman of the year this year. So they're just a tough out. We always have good games with them, never easy. And this year they seem to be catching fire and getting some momentum here late in the year.
Well, Coach, have you got a couple of tricks up your sleeve? Because you obviously did that against Lake Superior. You had Justin Greason do some more interesting things defensively. But as well, keeping in mind this Michigan Tech team is really good from not just beyond the arc three-point shooting, but 5 feet from beyond the arc. Like, they're not your normal necessarily range that they're going to step up right near the line. They can fire it from way out there.
Yeah, it's hard to really dig into stats. I don't know where they rank in terms of made three-pointers, but But certainly they have that ability to stretch you out and really get your defense overextended. And if you're not careful, you get really wrapped up in your own man, and then you're not in position to help. We did a pretty good job up there at their place. Would you say 72-64, I think it was. But we did a pretty good job. I think the game before ours, man, they had made like 16 threes.
Something
I think
like
it was
that,
16 threes, something like that, and really had put a thumping on Lake Superior State. So we caught them at a weird time, and then we went in there, and I think they only had 3 or 4 threes in our game.
4 for 19.
4, yeah. And so we actually guarded the three pretty well. But then what that does is it kind of opens up the inside. And at a key time in the game, they went inside to their big center, Gazulius, who sort of is one-on-one in around the basket. He had a couple of buckets to start the second half, and then midway in the second half, Kyle Monroe, went down into the low post and made his patented left-handed hook shot down there. He made 2 or 3 of those in a row. And that was really the difference in the game, about 5 possessions inside of 10 feet that proved to be the difference. So, we'll have to, figure out a little bit better strategy defensively. We didn't score a ton of points. Hopefully we're playing and clicking offensively a little bit better as well.
Yeah, last thing before we head to a break, Jeremy had mentioned, Justin Greason played at the top of your 3-2 zone and gave Lake Superior State a different look, not saying, hey, what are you going to do against Michigan Tech? But that was an interesting little wrinkle that we haven't seen before. You see a 6'10 guy, he's normally underneath the hoop, and he was camped out up at the top of the key. That was kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, it worked. It was fairly effective Sunday or Saturday. There's different kinds of zones you can play. A typical 2-3 zone, you put your big guy in the middle. But, against Lake Superior State, you're really worried about him shooting 3-point shots. So a typical zone, is more to take away the inside play. So the 3-2 zone sometimes gives you a little bit better coverage on the perimeter, but the 3 are up top and the 2 are down low. Those 2 guys down low really have to get all the way out to the corners. Their coverage area is greater. So that can be difficult for a big guy. So where do you put your big guy in a 3-2 is kind of the question mark. We chose to put him up top, which was a little bit awkward. But we, Justin and Drake too, Noah Phillips was in there too. They all did a pretty good job. I thought our preparation on Friday, our one-day prep, I thought they took to the coaching pretty well and listened and had a calmness about them that made it pretty effective. And credit those guys to not, looking at you kind of cross like, what are you doing, coach? This is crazy. They kind of trusted in what we were saying and believed, and then they went out and executed.
Yeah, well, that's great, and you guys believed it too, man. What a great win there this past Saturday. Again, Grand Valley now 15-10 overall. They got games upcoming this Thursday and this upcoming Saturday. We'll take a quick break and wrap things up. This is a GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley, all presented by Riverton Honda here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
We were born here. We grew up here. Raised our kids here. Went to school here. We live here. We are the home team.
And welcome back for the final time here in the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley here at Jets Pizza in Allendale. Forgot to mention somehow, Juwan Starks was named the GLIAC North Division Player of the Week. And I thought about it. We saw head coach Mike Williams here. His senior point guard, Janae Langs, was the Women's North Division Player of the Week. But, Coach, we were just talking about Michigan Tech on Thursday. You'll have Northern Michigan on Saturday. A quick word on them before we start wrapping things up.
Well, again, an interesting team. They've had their, lately they've kind of hit the skids here a little bit, but they've had some stretches during the season. They've played very well. They're basically a 5-guard team. They don't really even have what I'd call a power forward. They put 5 guards up there, and they are difficult to match up. They can really score a lot of points in a hurry. Like I say, they're one of the more unique teams in that they have, 5 players that can shoot it, pass it, and handle it. So your matchups are a nightmare against them. Eccles is a left-handed point guard who really is explosive. Isaiah Johnson is a sophomore kid who's really an inside-outside player. Perez, similar guy. So they're a tough team, and they have really caused some people some fits. So, that's a long ways on Saturday, I feel like,
right.
on Monday. So hopefully we'll play well on Thursday and get a chance to have another week like we did last week.
Well, certainly. And, Coach, as well, we want to see as many fans as we can out there this upcoming Thursday. Again, 6 and 8 o'clock. The men play at 8 o'clock. And then this upcoming Saturday for Beach Day, the women play at 1 and the men immediately following at 3 o'clock.
Senior Day, and I think we're honoring some of our former Lettermen, our 2 Elite 8 teams. Hopefully we're going to get several of those guys back to get recognized as well.
Very cool.
All right. Well, Coach, hey, let's go get them. Final 3 games, baby.
Home stretch.
It should be fun. Should be a lot of fun.
Hope so.
All right, a big thank you to all the Laker fans out here tonight. Our guest, Luke Reiskamp, joining us. And, of course, Jim Pettis and the fine owner at Jets Pizza. Remember, buy those heart-shaped pizzas only tonight and tomorrow, the only time you can do it. Brian Fonger's back in the studio. Thank you. For head coach Ric Wesley and play-by-play guy DJ Foster, I'm Jeremy Bolker. Have a great night, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day, and go Lakers.